Hi guys, this is Mysteries of the Unknown. Welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be looking at the Bannockburn Ghost Ship. Now, this was actually recommended to us by one of our viewers on our channel, so thank you for recommending this. I've done a lot of research into this over the last few days and it's really quite interesting. It's a new one to me, I've never heard of this one, so it was interesting to research something that I've not heard a lot of. You know, you hear a lot of ghost ships, and obviously stuff like the Mary Celeste, everyone's heard of that. This was, for me, completely new and original. I never heard of this one. We're going to get into it. It is the case of the Bannockburn Ghost Ship. The steamship Bannockburn was a Canadian steel-hulled freighter which disappeared on Lake Superior in snowy weather on November the 21st, 1902. Now, on that day, she was spotted by a captain of a passing vessel around noon of that same day, and minutes later, when the captain looked again, the ship seemed to have just vanished, just disappeared. It wouldn't have been more than 5 minutes of time that had passed and the ship had completely vanished. Now, when the next day came and the ship hadn't made port where she was supposed to go, it was just assumed that due to the bad weather the day before, she was running late, or she'd anchored somewhere to stay safe, or she'd hidden behind one of the islands in order to try and get out some of the weather. So nothing was too alarming at this time. But as time passed and the days passed, more concern grew. On the 25th of November 1902, the steamship John D. Rockefeller passed through a debris field just off Stannard Rock. No other ship was missing and there was no indication of what had happened, so some believe maybe it was to do with the Bannockburn. On the 30th of November of the same year, the Bannockburn and her crew were officially declared lost. Just no one knew where they'd gone. On December the 12th of the same year, a life jacket and an oar washed up on one of the shores of the island that belonged to the Bannockburn, deepening the mystery more. As always, there's been many theories around this. There's been many ideas of what could have happened to the Bannockburn, from exploding boilers to a paranormal or a supernatural explanation. But the mystery behind this is the stories that come after the disappearance of the Bannockburn. Now, you got to bear in mind that the Bannockburn, for its time, was a very unusual ship to have doing that kind of run on the Great Lakes. It was a very unusual ship. It didn't look like the other ships you would get on the Great Lakes. It was a very unique style. The minute a captain saw the Bannockburn, they knew it was the Bannockburn. It was unmistakably, you could not mistake what it were or what ship it was. Now, the Bannockburn is not the first ship to just seemingly disappear and then to be sighted afterwards. Submarine sailors have reportedly sighted the USS Scorpion long after the ship sank southwest of the Azores. The USS Scorpion, however, was one of 6 sister ships that looked identical to each other. So it's more than likely it was one of the other 6 sister ships that people saw and they mistook it for the USS Scorpion. In this case, however, that is not the case, as the Bannockburn was unique with how it looked on that stretch of water. It was unique. No other ship looked like it. None whatsoever. Now, when I was digging through the research on this and I was going into it and finding more and more stories, one that really fascinated me was one that involved the ship, the Walter A. Hutchinson. Now, this I found really fascinating. The story goes, shortly after World War II, the Walter A. Hutchinson was headed to the Salt Locks in the Great Lakes in a storm. 11 hours out of Thunder Bay, the crew knew they were close to the shore but had no idea to tell how close, exactly how close. They had been running close to the shore, but with the loss of their electronics due to the ice, they did not know how close to the shore exactly. The wind was coming out of the northwest and would have been pushing the Walter A. Hutchinson closer to the shore, but they might not have known that at the time. They could steer a course more to the north, but this would put the seas on the side of the ship and could cause the cargo to shift and capsize the ship. So this risk wasn't taken at the time. So the captain continued on his course, and preferring the risk possibly running aground to a likely capsizing had he changed course. The Bannockburn, however, had been sighted on a parallel course, but with the coming night, they had lost sight of her. Suddenly, a rocket exploded in the night. The crew saw the Bannockburn 100 yards off coming straight at them. There was no mistaking what they saw. The captain ordered the rudder about over hard to port, bringing the bow around to the northeast. The Walter A. Hutchinson wallowed in the high waves, trying to put distance between itself and the Bannockburn to avoid a crash. After what seemed like probably an eternity for the crew, the Bannockburn passed safely astern of the Walter A. Hutchinson. The crew continued to watch the Bannockburn. Then ran aground and began to rip apart at the seams. Then the Bannockburn simply disappeared. If the Walter A. Hutchinson had not changed course, she would have been the ship impaled on the rocks. So, did the Bannockburn appear to warn the captain of the rocks ahead? What do you think? Because for me, that's a fascinating story. Had this crew not have seen the Bannockburn coming straight towards them and desperately move out of the way so they didn't collide with one, that ship would have hit the rocks, which is a spooky thought, to say the least. But what do you think? What do you make of that? So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and there will be plenty more videos coming up like this very shortly. I aim to do one a day, so I shall see you in the next video.